Once upon a time, our next act needed a good wash, but they were saved by the synth and turned from crusty squatters to the best-selling siblings of Electro. And their name? Very confusing.
Now let me tell you about the Thompson twins. Number 1, they're not related. Number 2, there's 3 of them. And number 3, they're not called Thompson.
The Thompson twats, as Frankie Goes to Hollywood so cruelly rechristened them.
They seem to be straining so hard for a hook. We haven't got much idea of a melody here, we haven't got a great chorus, but we're going to damn well make sure that we press this into your brain by repeating it a lot.
It was just really awful reaction. People just saw it completely as a serious thing. They didn't see the irony, they didn't see that it was a joke.
Originally 2 cartoon characters from Tintin, the Thompson twins briefly evolved into 4 angry young men from Chesterfield, before becoming 7 squatters in South London. Bloody sponges.
We were living in squats. We didn't have any money. We didn't really have any equipment apart from what we made or stole.
A sort of hippie chaos, incense and rags, scruffy bunch.
It was ferociously alternative lifestyle statement stuff.
They were political. They lived on the edge. They had no hits. 2 albums did nothing. Never fear, artificial intelligence was at hand.
We were running out of material on the 2nd album of the 7-piece, and I'd just got a synthesizer and said, don't worry, I'll come up with something using this new box. And that was what was to become our first hit of any kind, really.
Ah, the first whiff of success. But would the mere promise of money and fame change our class warriors? Of course it did.
Tom suddenly thought, wow, we don't need a whole band. I'll do all the music with the drum machines and we'll just keep the image.
Tom had the brains, Alana and Joe had the looks. As a trio, they'd make much more money.
There was some kind of document put in front of me, I remember, which I had to sign. And in exchange for it, I would get 500 quid and my bass amp, which sounded like a good deal. It just never kind of occurred to me what might actually be happening.
None of the departing members made any objection to anything, or any claims to anything. So basically, the ongoing people were free to do whatever they wanted.
After the night of the long synths, the surviving twins were free to gorge themselves at the high table of 80s pop.
It was uncomfortable to break down that 7-piece band, but also there was a big imperative to do it. You know, it felt like the right thing at the time, Your Honour.
There's so many examples in history of groups that start out with good intentions and then they wave a couple of quid in front of them and lo and behold they've jumped on the latest bandwagon that happens to have rolled into town.
We wanted to have fun and express ourselves, so we started touting pop, 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 didn't we?
And then bang, top of the pops, I am a detective and...
We are detectives, we are celebs.
We had a manifesto, you know, and it was partly... Joe was in charge of live performances. I was doing visuals. Tom was in charge of the music.
Hit after hit from our pyjama-clad chums kept the breadheads happy, but it was all a long way from their crusty roots.
Everybody was completely divided. Some thought, yeah, this is fantastic, give us a ride in the limo. And then there was the completely resentful, oh, you've sold out stuff, you know.
From the pop world, it's the Thompson twins!
We sold millions of records and there was a lot of money. But of course, people were always into making more. We became part of this machinery. We used to write, record, tour, and then you'd go back into writing, record, tour, and it's boring.
That creative part, that was all the juice, and we were in there, no matter what it was, you were fighting for your ideas, and the fight for the idea wasn't there anymore.
Look at what we lost. Joe quit the band in 1986.
Really, we should have stopped when Joe left. I mean, in a way, that was it as far as the Thompson twins. But we sort of kept it going. Again, you know, managers, record companies had so much money and stuff invested. They're sort of going, no, keep going, keep going. In fact, Tom and I, after that, made a record which was tragic.
Telling lies, lies, lies to myself will never set me free. Oh.
We became a boring rock and roll band.
Yeah, it was really... And we thought, oh, we don't want to be a sad old boring rock and roll band. That's everything we hated. So we stopped.
After stopping the band, Tom and Alana kept writing pop stonkers for the likes of Debbie Harry, and these days are raising a family in Alana's native New Zealand and working with top Kiwi combo Stella. Joe, meanwhile, is practising hypnotherapy in LA. Doctor indeed.
We didn't really deserve to be that successful. It became an embarrassing thing. And also, I had a strange paranoia that one day, you know, you'd be found out for the shallow charlatan that you really were. You know, that we really weren't good enough to be adored by so many millions of people.